Even though the trade deadline has already passed, the Chicago Bears are not done trying to improve this roster. They brought in 4 players for tryouts yesterday, and they have a visit scheduled with star free agent cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Asante Samuel has finally been cleared for football contact, and he expects to sign with the team in the next week to 10 days. Adam Schefter was the first to report that Asante will be visiting Halas Hall early next week. He plans to visit the Bears on Tuesday, but we are not the only team that he's going to visit. Asante has a busy week ahead of him. Multiple teams around the NFL are interested. He visited with the Carolina Panthers already yesterday, and he's visiting with the Green Bay Packers today. Stay away from Green Bay. He visits with the Vikings tomorrow, the 49ers on Monday, the Bears on Tuesday, and then the Steelers on Wednesday. Right now, that's a total of 6 teams that he's going to be visiting, and all of them are at least in the hunt for the NFL playoffs. My biggest worry with this is that one of the teams signs him before Tuesday and he never gets to meet with the Bears. However, I do feel like he's not in a huge rush here. I feel like he wants to explore his options and take his time making a decision. He's probably a few weeks away from actually playing. But if he is healthy, he's easily the best player in free agency right now. He also visited with the Saints a few months ago in July, but he was not cleared to return yet. He just turned 26 years old on October 3rd. He started 47 games before suffering a major injury last season. He had neck surgery in April, a serious spinal fusion surgery that's kept him out of football for over a year now. He was injured in week 4 of 2024, but he's now been cleared to return to football activities. I've heard some people say that you can't sign a guy with this kind of injury, but there have been others to suffer the same injury that returned to NFL action. Peyton Manning actually had this surgery, and then he won a Super Bowl afterwards with the Broncos. Other players have returned from this kind of injury as well. 2 recent Lions defenders, Levi Onwuzurike and Josh Pascal. Another was Broncos safety PJ Locke, who had a more severe injury based on what I read. Asante Samuel is a player whose career I've followed briefly. He was a star at Florida State. The only reason he wasn't a first round pick is because he was a bit undersized. He's 5'10", 180 pounds, but the Chargers took him early in round 2 of the 2021 draft. He's a 4-year starter with 6 career interceptions and 176 total tackles. He's also defended 37 passes. There is a big misconception with Samuel due to his size. Most people assume that he's a nickel corner and plays in the slot. However, he's played only 40 career snaps at nickelback and 2,853 as an outside corner. So to me, it's pretty clear. Asante is an outside corner, and if he joined the Bears, he would be asked to play on the outside. Considering that we're bringing him in for a visit, does that mean that JJ might not return this season? Currently, we have Tyreek Stevenson and Nashawn Wright as our top outside corners. Inside at nickelback, we have CJ Gardner Johnson and Kyler Gordon, who's on the IR right now. So Asante would be asked to play on the outside. I think Jalen Johnson's return is questionable. I think he could end up being out for the entire season, and that would make signing a guy like Asante Samuel a great fit. Our secondary has simply been devastated by injuries, and Asante is a guy who could help us out down the stretch. I was a big fan of his in college, and I had him graded out as a first round pick. He has everything you want in a corner except for size and length, but he brings attitude, physicality, ball skills, and swagger to the secondary. He is a playmaker, and I would be a huge fan of signing him to the Bears. We also worked out 4 running backs yesterday, though, and this makes me think that Roschon Johnson's roster spot is not safe. Israel Abanikanda, Montrell Johnson, Raheem Blackshear, and Shunderick Powell all had tryouts with the Bears yesterday. As of yet, none of them have been signed, but the Bears have been working out running backs for months. We've worked out Jamal Williams twice and other players as well. My guess here is that with Monungai's success, the Bears are looking for another speed back to add to the roster and maybe someone with kick return abilities as well, because we haven't been very good in that area either. I was a pretty big fan of a couple of these running backs coming out of college. I really liked Montrell Johnson. He rushed for over 3,000 yards and 33 touchdowns in college, spending his last 3 years at Florida in the SEC. However, he did not return kicks. The guy who did was Pitt's Israel Abanikanda, including one that he took to the house for a kick return TD. His junior season at Pitt was awesome. He ran for 20 TDs and over 1,400 yards that year, putting up 1,577 total yards and 21 total tutties. This led him to get drafted in the 5th round by the Jets, and he had a big preseason that year, but he never did much in the NFL. He played a little bit in 2023, returning 2 kicks for 31 yards, and he got a few touches on offense as well. 22 carries for 70 yards and 7 catches for 43 yards, 113 total yards on offense, but he never became a big part of the Jets' RB rotation. But the guy with the most experience on the list as a kick returner is Raheem Blackshear. He was the Panthers' primary kick returner for the majority of the last 3 years. He returned 66 total kickoffs for 1,734 yards, averaging a very respectable 26.3 yards per clip. He also returned 23 punts for over 200 yards as well. He had multiple kick returns of over 50 yards, but he never took one to the house in the NFL. But he did return kicks at Rutgers and Virginia Tech, and he's a guy who could come in and help us as a kick returner right away. Something to keep an eye on for sure. The final back we tried out was Shunderick Powell, a speedy back who played at small schools Central Arkansas and Northern Alabama. I believe he's a long shot to sign, but his speed is a trait that Ben Johnson covets. I do think it's very possible here that the Bears add another runner at some point. Roshan Johnson and DeAndre Swift were out last week, but the good news is that all three practiced yesterday, but all three were listed as limited participants. Roshan is dealing with a back injury, DeAndre Swift is dealing with a groin, and Kyle Monungai has an ankle issue. This is from yesterday's injury report. But something to consider here is we are past the halfway point of the season, and a lot of guys are going to be getting rest days in practice. We'll find out more later today on how likely these guys are to play Sunday. But if you missed it, Ben Johnson talked about how him and Ryan Poles met and discussed all of the moves and potential moves they could make together. These guys are happy with where the roster is now, but they want to continue improving and getting better without mortgaging the future. The bottom line is the Bears are still looking to add to this roster. Even after signing CJ Gardner-Johnson and making a trade for another edge rusher, we also have the return of Austin Booker. But the Bears are at least interested in signing Asante Samuel Jr., and they're working out different running backs. I really appreciate everyone who watches, but I'm asking if you could please hit the like button for me, hype up this video, and share it with your friends. I'll be here to cover all the Bears-related news. Stay tuned, and until next time, bear down.